Good day, class. Now we'll discuss about our module 3, the circle, the standard form for an equation of a circle, and conditions to determine a circle. So, what is a circle, class? So, by definition, a circle is a set of all points in a plane at a fixed positive distance called the radius from a fixed point called the center. So, in general, it is a locus of a point with a fixed distance from a certain fixed point. So we discussed in module 2 about the locus of points, or how to determine the equation satisfying the condition. So a circle with the center HK and radius R has a standard equations of the quantity A, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So paano ba ito na-derive na formula, class? It is derived based on the definition of the circle. So suppose, class, we have this is our partition coordinate plane. We have a fixed point here. Let's call this HK, and we need to find the equation of a locus of a point that has a fixed distance from this point here with a distance of, let's say, r. So let's say we have here a point, let's say xy, and the distance between these 2 points is r. So by distance formula, plus x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So that's how the standard form or the equation of the circle is derived. So when we graph the locus of the points, or the set of all points satisfying this condition, we have a figure like this. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Now, this equation, class, is called the standard form of a circle. And in general, every circle can be represented in the general form. So what is the general form of a circle? The general form of a circle is this one, by theorem 4.2, ax squared plus ay squared plus bx plus ay plus f equals 0. So assuming that a is not equal to 0. Okay, baka magtaka kayo, class, ba't ganyan, sir? Bakit a, tsaka biglang b, e, and f yung coefficients? Nasaan na yung b and c? Okay. Class, this is actually a special case of a conic section. A circle is a degenerate case or degenerate form of an ellipse, which is a conic section. So let's just have an overview about the conic section, because in our next chapter we will discuss all about conic section. So in general, a conic section or a curve in the second degree has a general equation or form of ax squared plus bxy plus cy squared plus dx plus dy plus f equals 0, where a, b, c up to f are coefficients, are constants. Now, when a is equal to c, and c is equal to 0, our equation is reduced to ax squared plus, since a is equal to c, or we say c is equal to a, we just replace c by a, y squared plus dx plus dy plus f equals 0. So in our next chapter, class, we will discuss in detail all about the conic section and why did I say that the circle is a degenerate case of an ellipse. Maybe I will just give a quick overview. Okay, what is the definition of degenerate? What's the meaning plus of degenerate? In analytic geometry, degenerate means it is in a simpler form. So the nature of the curve changes because of some certain limit. There is a limiting case in which the nature of the curve from its original form changes into a much simpler form. So one example of this is the circle. So ellipse class, let's graph an ellipse. Let's say um, okay. Let's say that ganito class yung ellipse. Then an ellipse has a certain eccentricity. We will discuss all about eccentricity when we go to the next chapter. But as this eccentricity of the ellipse approaches zero, what happens to the ellipse? The ellipse becomes what happens to the ellipse? The ellipse becomes a circle. So it becomes a circle. So that is the degenerate case of an ellipse. And also, a circle has also a degenerate case, which is a point. So, paano ba? Bakit nagkaroon ng degenerate case ang ellipse? Tingnan muna natin yung standard equation ng ating circle. We have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now, suppose that our radius is changing. Okay, let's draw first a circle. X minus y. Yan. Suppose meron tayong circle with a equation ng x squared plus y squared equals r squared because its center is at the origin. This is just an example. But now, what happens when its radius decreases? Ano mangyayari sa circle natin? Itong circle natin will, ano ba mangyayari dito? This will get smaller. Liliit to ng liliit. Hanggang when our radius approaches to zero, ano na mangyayari? It will become a point. Or in some cases, no point at all. And we have a theorem for that class in our module. So going back to our module. Now, if you notice here that the coefficients of x squared and y squared are the same. So if we divide this general form by a, we get x squared plus y squared plus d prime x plus e prime y plus f prime equals 0. So our coefficients is reduced to 3. 3 coefficients from A, D, E, and F. Naging D prime, E prime, and F prime na lang siya. Okay. This is a very important equation modification of the general form class because in the next because later we will discuss about the conditions to determine circle, and we will use this equation. Next, our theorem 4.3. So the graph of every equation of the form, the general form is either a circle or a point or contains no points. So the last two cases are called the degenerate cases of a circle. So just as I discussed previously. So how can we distinguish between a circle, a point, or no point at all? Well, we can do it by inspection class. Let's just go back to our standard equation. Suppose this is our standard equation class, and we want to transform it into the general form. So by expanding this trinomial, we have x squared minus 2hx plus h squared plus y squared minus 2ky plus k squared equals r squared. So rearranging, we have x squared plus y squared minus 2hx minus 2ay. Okay, we have h squared plus k squared minus r squared equals 0. So if we compare it to the general form, we have ax squared plus by squared plus dx plus dy plus f equals 0. So if the general form is a circle, then it must have a radius. So that this term here, where is must be this term here, f, this is equivalent to f, this one here, if we compare the two. If the radius is, the square of the radius is subtracted from the sum of the square of h and k, f must be negative. So if the coefficient f is negative, then we have a circle. Otherwise, if the coefficient f is positive, then we have a point. Suppose that if it is a point, then our radius must be 0. So see, if this is 0, then we have only the sum of the squares of h and k. So this is always a positive number. So if f is positive, it is not a circle, it is a point. But if our f is negative, then it must be a circle. Okay. So now let's this will be our next topic, conditions to determine a circle. So I will, before we proceed to this topic, class, I want to let's solve first some problems involving the in relation to our first topic, which is the standard and the general form of a circle. And on our next sample problem, before we discuss our next sample problems, we will discuss about the conditions to determine the circle. Okay. Now let's solve sample problem number 1. Find the points of intersection of, the follow of the two given circles. Okay. So, lagay lang muna natin ito plus dito sa ating OneNote. Okay. So this is our sample problem 1. Okay. Now, before we proceed to solving to the solution, first step is to just to verify first if the given general equation is indeed a circle or a point. So just as I discussed previously, if the coefficient f is negative, which is in this case negative 26 and negative 15, then we can say that the general equation is a circle. So check na tayo doon. Next, we need to verify if the two given circles actually intersect. Otherwise, we will have no solution to this problem. So how do we do it, guys? By graphing, of course, by graphing the two circles. So how can we graph the two circles given its general form? Well, first we need to transform it into the standard form so that we can determine its center and its radius. So okay, let's go. So step 1, transform into standard form. Okay. Now, we have first our, okay class, let me discuss this one. We can transform a general form of a circle into a standard form by simply completing the square. We have x squared plus 5x. So how can we complete the square? Well, it's very easy class from the perfect square trinomial. X squared plus x, the quantity x, a plus b squared is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So from there, we can just compare the two and solve the to get the perfect square trinomial. So in this case, it must be x squared plus 5x plus 2ab is equal to 5x, so that our 2b is equal to 5. So rb is equal to 5 over 2. So that b squared must be equal to 25 over 4. So ganun class. But in this case, we will just derive a formula based on that principle, completing the square, in order to solve for the standard form. So, okay class, let's begin. First, we write the standard form. We have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Let's expand. X squared minus 2hx plus h squared plus y squared minus 2ky plus k squared, and let's transpose r squared to the left, minus r squared equals 0. Let's rearrange. X squared plus y squared minus 2hx minus 2ky plus h squared plus k squared minus r squared equals 0. Now let's compare it with the general form of the circle. So the general form of the circle is this one: a x squared plus a y squared minus plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0. Now comparing these two equations, let us equate like terms, so that we have dx is equal to negative 2hx. So our h will be equal to negative 1/2 d. Next, ey is equal to negative 2ky. So that our k must be equal to negative 1/2 e. Okay. Now, how about f? F. So our f is equal to h squared plus k squared minus r squared. But h and k are already expressed in terms of d and e respectively. So we have negative 1/2, negative 1/2 d squared plus negative 1/2 d squared minus r squared. And let's simplify and factor out our 1/2 squared, or 1/4. So we have f is equal to let's say 1/4 d squared plus 1/4 e squared minus r squared. Let's multiply both sides by 4 and isolate r. So we have r squared is equal to we can factor out 1/4. 1/4 d squared plus e squared minus, to balance the equation, we need to put 4. Yes. Okay. So that our r is equal to 1/2 times the square root of d squared plus e squared minus 4f. Okay. So class, now that we have derived our formulas to finding the center and radius given the standard form, we can now convert. Now that we have derived the formulas to solve for the center and radius, we can now use it to determine the standard form of the given circles. All right. Now let's go here. So first, let's consider the first circle. We have x squared plus y squared plus 5x plus y minus 26 equals 0. So from this general form, our d is equal to 5. 5. Our e is equal to 1, and our f is negative 26. So that our h is equal to negative 1/2 d, which is equal to negative 1/2 times 5. We have negative 5 over 2. Our k is equal to negative 1/2 d is equal to negative 1/2 times 1. We have 1/2, and our r is equal to 1/2 times the square root of d squared plus e squared minus 4f. And we have 1/2 5 squared plus 1 squared minus 4 times negative 26. Okay. So ilan bang r natin? The class. Okay. Five times square root of 25 plus 1 plus 4 times 26. 1 square root of 130 over 2. We have square root of 130 over 2. This is for our first circle. And now, proceeding to our second circle, our d is equal to 2. Our e is negative 1. And negative 1. And our f is negative 15. Okay. Now, our h here is negative 1/2 times 2. We have negative 1. Our k is negative 1/2 times negative 1. 1/2. 1/2. And our r is equal to 1/2 times square root of 2 squared plus negative 1 squared minus 4 times negative 15. So our r will be 0.5 times square root of 4 plus 1 minus 60. Plus 60. We have square root of 65 over 2. Square root of 65 over 2. Okay. Now, to summarize, our first circle, our center is at negative 5/2, negative 1/2. And our radius is square root of 130 over 2. And our second circle, our center is located at negative 1 and 1/2. And our radius is equal to square root of 65 over 2. Okay. Okay. Naputol na naman class. Okay, now that we have our radius and center of the circle, we can graph it now, class. Okay, let's graph it and see if the two circles intersect. Or algebraically, we can determine if the two circles in the intersect if we compare the distance between the two circle with the sum of the radius. So okay, let's see. Our two circle are the center of the two circles. The centers of the two circle are -5 halves, -1 half, and 1 and 1 half, respectively. Now, okay. Let's see. Lobat na ba? Hindi pa. By using a distance formula, we can solve for the distance between the two centers. We have d is equal to square root of, -5 halves plus 1 squared plus -1 half minus 1 half squared. Okay, so what will be our distance? Okay, our distance will be equal to the square root of -5 plus 1 squared plus -1 squared. Square root of 13 over 2. Square root of 13 over 2, which is less than square root of 130 over 2 plus square root of 65 over 2. So we can say that the two circles may intersect because maybe the first circle is inside the second circle. We need to verify it by plotting. Okay. But suppose that the distance is greater than the sum of the radius, we can say that the two circles will not intersect because the two circles will be tangent if will be externally tangent if the distance between the two centers is equal to the sum of the radius. Now, if that distance is increased, is more than the sum of the radius, then the two circles will be farther apart from each other. So let's just confirm it by graphing. Okay. Let's graph this one. Sorry. So we have here so this is our part. Okay, X. So X and this is our Y. Now our first circle is located at -5 halves, 1 half. So suppose nandito siya, -5 halves, -1 half, eto dito. And so this is -5 halves, -1 half. Next circle will be at the center is -1, 1 half. -1, 1 half. So dito siya. Yan. So, okay. So the first circle, let's say ito siya. Pangit. Not my question mark. So, class, medyo hirapan pa ako sa pag... Suppose, ito yun, yung ating first circle. And our next circle is... but since the problem states that we need to find the points of intersection, we can assume in the first place that the two circles indeed intersects, right? I just want to verify it because when you solve problems in the board exam, there are some tricky questions where like this one, the two given general form, the circles are not intersecting circles or they are not really circles. So I am just verifying, class. Actually, we can verify it using our GeoGebra. Let's verify it. Mabilis lang. Okay. Ano nangyari sa atin? So, ito yung given na equation natin. Yan. So, mabilis na ito. X squared plus y squared plus 5x. No, 5x plus 1 minus 26 equals 0. Ba't walang malabas? Anyway, ganito yun, class. Okay na to. Let's just say that the two points of intersection are this one and this one. And ito na yung hahanapin natin. Let's call this as x2, y2. Let's call this as x1, y1. Yan. Now, how do we solve for these points of intersection? Ito na talaga yung solution ng problem natin. Napakahaba ng discussion natin. Well, because I talked about the derivation of the formulas that we can use. So, let's now solve the problem. Okay. Balik kunin ulit natin to. Yan. So, suppose ito na to. Ito na yung equation natin. And how can we solve for the intersection in this, for the points of intersection? If you remember, class, in our module 1, how did we solve the point of intersection of two lines? Well, given the two equations of the lines, we solve the system of equations. We solve it simultaneously. And in this case, we will do it in a similar way. So how? Well, just looking at the given equation, can we express y explicitly as a function of x? Well, in this type of equation, it is not possible, so we will rule that out. Next, how can we eliminate like terms? Let us look at the system of equation. We have x squared plus y squared plus 5x plus y minus 26 equals 0. X squared plus y squared plus 2x minus y minus 15 equals 0. Now, as if you can see, we have common terms, x squared and y squared. So let's say this is our let's say this is our equation 1 and this is our equation 2. Okay. We can eliminate the x squared and y squared by simply subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. Okay. Now, so this will be cancelled out. This becomes 3x. This becomes 2y. And this is how much is this? Negative 11 equals 0. Okay. So we have our equation 3. So what do we call this equation? This is actually an equation of the line. But how do we interpret this? This is actually the equation of the line that passes through the points of intersection. So ito siya, class. Ito yun. Ito yung equation ng line na to. Ito siya. Yan. So we have solved the equation of the line that passes through the points of intersection. Now, since the two circles and the line passes through the same 2 points, we can say that the 2 points satisfies these 3 equations. So that what we can do now is we can isolate y, or we can write y in terms of x, then substitute to any of the first 2 equations. So let's do it. So our y will be equal to negative 3x plus 11 over 2. So this is our equation 3. Okay. Now let's substitute equation 3 to equation 1. So if we substitute 3 to 1, we have x squared plus negative 3x plus 11 over 2 squared plus 5x plus negative 3x plus 11 over 2 minus 26 equals 0. Let's simplify. We have 1/4. 9x squared minus 66x plus 121 plus 5x minus 3 half x plus 11 over 2 minus 26 equals 0. Now let's distribute our 1/4 and rearrange. X squared plus 9 over 4 squared minus 33 over 2x plus 5x minus 3 over 2x plus 121 over 4 plus 11 over 2 minus 26 equals 0. So combining like terms, 13 over 4 squared, we have negative 13 negative 13x and over 4. So multiply both sides by 4. We have 13x squared minus this 52x plus 39 equals 0. Right? Okay. Now, using quadratic formula, solve for x equal to b for x now is equal to Means 4 times 13, 39. 4 times 13. X is equal to 3. The first root is 3 and the second root equal to. Although class, meron tayong function dito na nakakapag-solve ng quadratic equation. I suggest back to fundamentals muna tayo. Okay na yan. Okay, we have the values of x, x1 and x2. Now to get y1 and y2, we simply substitute the values of x to equation 3. So let's equation 3. Okay. So from 3, we have y1 equals negative 3 times 3 plus 11 over 2. So we have 1 y2 is equal to negative 3 times 1 plus 11 over 2. We have 4. Okay. So our points now are the points of intersection 3, 1 and 1, 4. So that's it, class. Ito na yung sagot natin.